All right. Oh my gosh, we're excited. If you're not excited on December 28th, going into 2022, check your pulse. Right? It's time to get excited here, right? Especially because we're gonna have a simple conversation today, a really simple conversation today. Thanks for joining us. By the way, Mark, I love your background. You're my favorite right now. And yet we're gonna have a conversation today about 4 simple questions to assure that your goals are set for 2022. And so the way this is going to work, if you've been on these calls before, is I'm going to go through some content here for about 30 minutes or so, right? We've got some slides, obviously, hopefully that you guys can see that. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up either on your reactions or in the chat box. Let me know that you can see that, or give me a thumbs up. Okay, you guys can see it. Cool. So we're going to go through some content here about how to ask 4 simple questions. And what you may or may not know is we're actually going to connect that to 4 simple tools to assure that your goals are set for 2022. At the end of that, if you guys have a few questions, you can certainly ask me. And then we're going to wrap that up. You guys are going to go about your day. There's more of these recordings coming on these holiday calls, and you probably have participated in them. If you don't have a MAPS coach yet, it's a great time to consider that for 2022. And let's get started. So my name is Matt Teter. I'm an executive leadership coach here with MAPS. I've been a coach since 2015. So we're going into year 7. Pretty incredible to say that. Really excited. I've had the opportunity to coach more than 250 leaders in our company for pushing 15,000 coaching calls. So what I've learned is that there's 4 simple questions that you can use to assure that your goals are set for 2022. What are they? Right? Well, here's question 1. Question 1 is, what do you want? What do you want? And what do I mean by that? So what I mean by that is, the first question that we want to ask ourselves every year when you think about setting your goals is, remember that the purpose of business is to generate a profit, and the purpose of profit is to fund a life by design. So where your goal setting begins is with what begins with you, right? It begins with, what do you want? What do you desire, right? What do you want? Now, this is one of the questions that more of us should ask and more of us should answer, and yet so few of us ask ourselves, what do I want? And the first question to ask ourselves to assure that our goals are set for 2022 is, have I answered what do I want? What do I want to achieve in 2022? What do I want to buy? What do I want to invest in? What debt do I want to pay off? Where do I want to travel? Yes, I said travel. You're getting right everything in order to do it so safely, right? To make sure that you can go the places that you want to go. And it might look different than it's looked before. And yet, where do you want to travel in 2022? What do you want to accomplish? What are your health goals? Right? What are your health goals for 2022? Is there a weight that you'd like to achieve, or weight that you'd like to? People say they don't say lose. They say remove or drop off. Or I've heard a lot of different things. Release, right? As well. So whatever you want to do with that weight, or is there something you want to do with your diet, or is there something you want to do with your exercise, or is there something you want to do a certain amount of times, right, with your health? Meditation, right, for your mindset or mindfulness. What do you want to do with your health? What time off do you want to take? What time off do you want to take next year, right? And that time off could be to travel somewhere. That time off could be to travel nowhere. And it could be just personal time that you take. What time are you going to have with your family next year, right? A lot of the, we're going to go to the tools here in a second, yet a lot of the tools that I see as a coach have a certain number of times that people are going to go on a date night with their spouse, or a certain number of times they're going to have a date with their kids, or a certain number of times they're going to do an activity with their kids or with their spouse, right? Or with their families. So what does that look like? What amount of money, what amount of time, what amount do you want to give in 2022? Right? What is your philanthropic activity, right? Flexing your philanthropic muscle for 2022. What's that look like for you? So what do you buy, invest, pay off, travel, accomplish, health, time off, time with your family? What do you want to give? If you haven't thought about these things, it's okay. It's why we're here. Yet this is the time, because, it's like less than a week, right? It starts over. So what do you want in 2022? Now, for each one of these, we're going to give you a tool, right? You got a question and a tool. Okay, so now you're getting the cadence today, right? So question 1 was, what do you want? And the tool is a 411. The tool is a 411. Right. And I got some questions here, right? One question is, do you live to work or work to live? Right? I don't live to work. I don't know about you. Some people will say things like, if I had all the money in the world, I would never stop working. Hey, to be honest, if that person had all the money in the world, that's when I would ask them that question. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, people say that a lot, and yet I don't think we live to work. I think we work to fund our lives by design. So have we designed that life? What is the purpose of a business, right? To generate a profit, and the purpose of profit is your life by design. We said that. Are you building a life that works inside your business, or a business that funds your perfect life? Ooh, are you building a life that works only inside the walls of what you've designed for your business, or a business that funds your perfect life? It's literally a choice. You've heard people say you make the choice and the choice makes you. Some of you are sitting there going, is this bold? No, it's not bold. It's bold light just right now, right? And yet, that it's about the choices that you make. And so, are you building a life that works inside your business, or a business that funds your perfect life? Everything in 2022 is going to start with the question, what do you, that's me talking to you, and for yourself, it's what do I want? The more specific you can get with the quantity, that's where it shows up in your personal goal of 401. The number of times you're going to spend with your family, the places you're going to travel, and the quantification. What I mean by that is, what's the cost or investment in the things that I desire? The more specific you'll be able to design a business that allows you to do it. Guys, as a team leader, I was a team leader too for a while. And as a team leader, one of the most disappointing things I ever saw in that role is people that achieved every goal they wrote down in their business goals and still didn't get what they wanted. And the reason why is they started with a GPS. They started designing a business instead of starting by designing their life. So let's start by designing everything we want in our life and build a business that can fund it. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. We're doing great. We're 8 minutes in. You're rocking and rolling. Let's go to question 2. You're going, this is a different holiday call. This is, yeah, it's different. Okay, let's go to number 2. Whoa, here we go. Question 2. What will you do in your business to achieve it? So question 1 was, what do you want? Right? Somebody's got to put me on mute there, right? Hunter, it might be you, right? Okay, question 2. What will you do in your business to achieve it? So question 1 is, what do you want? Question 2 is, what will you do in your business to achieve it? The sub idea or category or question here is, what will you prioritize and how will you execute on specific strategies, right? So some of you are probably going like, wait a second, I think I know where this is going. If my first question was, what do I want? And it was, what am I going to buy? Where am I going to go? What am I going to pay off? What charitable contributions am I going to make, right? And then defining that, quantifying that on the personal side of my 411, and then making sure I had the professional side of my 411 allow me to fund that. Then question 2 is, what will I do in my business to achieve it? That sounds like me checking the box of what's going to be on my GPS. And you would have been exactly right, right? That GPS is that 1-page business plan that's going to allow us to be able to fund our life by design, right? Through the business profitability that we're generating based on what we want in our personal lives. So the GPS, if you're a leader, right, the GPS will probably be something like growth, productivity, and value, or growth, productivity, and retention, a GPR or a GPV, so to speak, right, as your priorities. As an agent, your GPS can be really simple. It could be leads, listings, and leverage. Leads, listings, and leverage, right? So I know, here's the thing I know about the people on this call. Many of you are agents, so we'll focus on that for a second. What I mean by leads is I mean the Gary Keller Millionaire Real Estate Agent book version of leads. I mean, how many people do we need in our database, leads, to produce the amount of closed units that we desire to have to fund our life by design, right? Now, a recent article that was put out by Outfront this year from the research team at KWRI and KWU said that the conversion rate on a 36 touch from a lead in your database was 6.37%. Woo! Okay, there's an article out front on this, guys, if you want that as a reference. 6.37%. Well, what I could do is, I've got a calculator here. You guys probably have one too, right? It's 11:11. Some people are making a wish out there. We'll keep going. So if I wanted to close 100 units, right, at 6.37% conversion, I'd say 100, right? And I divide by that conversion. I go, okay, divided by 0.0637, right? And I would look at it and go, well, that means that I would need to have 1,570 people in my database at a 6.37% conversion on a 36 touch in order to close 100 units. Does that make sense? Well, that would be, if I don't have that in my database on a 36 touch, communicating to either generate a referral or direct transactions through, that might be my priority under my lead category in my GPS. Interesting how specific we could get. Some of you are going, Matt, it's the week between Christmas and New Year's. How could you possibly have this much energy? I'm excited about 2022, guys. I'm excited. It's going to be awesome. Get excited. Okay, the listing side of your business, right? What does that priority look like? Well, right, that priority can be how many listings do it. You guys have probably seen in bold the listings needed form. In fact, if you're on this call, I'm almost certain you have one. You probably have it on your desk, right? A listings needed form. Now, if you don't have it on your desk, right, or you don't have it, it's time to take bold, right? And yet a listings needed form. And the idea being that how many listings do I need to take in order to be able to close how many listings and total units in order to achieve my overall income goal or profit goal, right? And there's a specific, well, guys, you could look at the economic model and the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and you could look at conversion rates if you don't track and know your own, and you could determine how many listings we need to take based on what conversion rate in order to close how many units that you desire to close. Does that make sense? And that could be that priority. Finally, your leverage priority could be, well, if I'm going to talk to this many people or add this many people to my database, my lead priority, and I'm going to take this many listings and service this many transactions and close units in my listing priority, then who do I need in my world or my team that I'm missing in order to do that in my business? That would be that leverage priority, or could be that leverage priority, right? So now some of you may be asking, Matt, before we go to question 3, let me ask you this, right? Or what I've written down is this. I know a GPS is a goal, 3 priorities, and 5 strategies, or we call it a 1-3-5, right? For that reason. What's the goal? You've helped me with the priorities, right? And it looks like, Matt, the strategies are mine. They are, right? They're your responsibility. Yet, what's the goal? The purpose of a business is to generate a profit. So the goal, guys, is the purpose of business. It's your profit goal, right? You have a profit goal and you've got these priorities. We've gone through a way of being able to function and do that. And what we know about this is it's answering the question, what will you do in your business to achieve it, in our preparation for achieving our goals in 2022? So let's go to question 3. Question 1 was, what do you want? Question 2 is, what will you do in your business to achieve it? Question 3 is, who will you do it with? Who will you do it with, right? Who is on your team now, and who will you need in addition to them to achieve your goals? Now, we're going to go to a tool in a second. You probably have already guessed the tool that we're going to go to, right? And that's okay. We'll have a big reveal here. And yet, here's the thing. Before you think about this and you look at the people you need on your team, what I want you to understand is all of you have a team, whether or not you have a sales team. Okay? All of you have a team. All of you have a team. All of you have you. Because, well, let me ask this. Do you do every single function in your life yourself? Do you prepare your own taxes? Right? Probably not for most of you, right? Do you mow your own lawn? Some of you are going, well, yeah, I do. Well, some of you don't. Do you clean your own house? Yeah, I do. Some of you don't, right? Do you service your own HVAC? Right? I mean, all of us. That's the funny thing about people saying they're self-made, and that's another call. That's not for this one. Yet all of us have a team. Now, we may not be recognizing the team the way we think, and yet I wanted you to start thinking about, you're already utilizing a team. You're already functioning with the team, right? You have a CPA. You probably have a small business attorney that works with you. You probably have an insurance broker. Guys, as a real estate professional, you have a lender that you work with. You're not the lender and the agent, I don't think. Right. In a lot of states, you can't be. Okay. And yet I'm pretty sure you're not. I'm pretty sure you're not the title company and the agent. I'm pretty sure you're not the home warranty company, the title company, the lender, and the agent. I'm pretty sure. Is this making sense? You're already utilizing leverage, whether or not you employ anyone directly as an executive assistant, transaction coordinator, and whether you have somebody that works with you as a showing assistant, a buyer's or listings agent, a director of sales, a CEO, you're already utilizing a team of people to succeed. Now that you've reframed your mindset by looking at your allied resources or the people that help you service your personal life as a team, now all of us can get back on the bus of answering this question. Because I know when I asked you, who will you do it with? And we put the word team, some of your brain shut off and you went, well, I don't have a team, so this isn't for me. Now that you're all back in, right? You all have a team. So who is on your team now, right? Your personal team and your professional team, right? Whether or not you have any direct reports that you've hired for your actual sales team, so to speak, right? Who's on your team now? And who will you need in addition to that to achieve your goals? Guys, in order to go up, in order to go vertical in life, right? We always have to give up. Ooh, whoa. You're like, this is a holiday call, Matt. It's not supposed to get that deep. It's okay. I'll get you out of here, right? In order to go up, you got to give up. And what do you give up? You give up time, money, opportunity, or control. Those are the four things you give up. You give up time, money, opportunity, or control. Okay. And so each time you want to go to a higher level, you're going to give up one of those four things. And sometimes you give up all four. And control is a big thing we give up to go to the next level. So our first question to ensure that we achieve our goals, what do we want? Number two is, what will you do in your business to achieve it? Number three is, who will you do it with? And guys, the tool's really simple here. It's an organizational chart. All of you already were like, yeah, I already wrote down an organizational chart. I get it. Some of you are writing your organizational chart as we're going. Good, right? Put it in your notes. Who's on my personal team? Who's on my personal team's big, right? This morning I had to run outside as we started recordings and calls, and the person that does our pest control. We live in Texas here. There's somebody always that's doing pest control in Texas. Okay. So the person that did our pest control, I ran outside and said, hey, I'm doing recordings today. Is there anything you need from me? He said, no, Mr. Teter, you're good. I said, that's perfect because I'm doing some recordings. He said, good luck on your calls. I said, man, that's so nice of you. Good luck with killing those roaches in my lawn or whatever it is. Okay. And then we got started, right? See, that's a person on my personal team. And by the way, I don't want you to hear that anything in degradation of that individual. Thank God for that individual, because I'm not doing that, right? And they're helping me so much so I can be here with you. What an awesome guy that is. What an awesome group of people I have that work to make my life easier so I can be here with you, and you have the same. Who's on your personal team? Who's on your professional team? Start drawing it out. Who do you need to go to another level? Here's some questions for us. Will your current team allow you to accomplish larger goals? Whoa. That's a question. You can see it later. And that's a question about this word called scale. I remember in maybe you guys have seen this the show Shark Tank, right? I like that show, Shark Tank. I like business shows, right? Because we're business people. I get to learn about that. And so watching the show Shark Tank, and I remember in 2016, I went to a keynote speech, and it was Robert Herjavec, right? He was the keynote speaker, right? And it was a short speech, right? And we were in the audience, small audience, about 200 people that we paid to see Robert Herjavec. Was pretty cool. And we got to ask him one question. And thank goodness it was a good question. And thank goodness he gave a great answer. And the question was, Robert, what is the largest challenge we face today in business? And his answer was scale. He said the single largest challenge that exists in business is scale. He said, the issue is how do we grow larger? When do we grow larger? What do we do systematically to support larger growth? And who is going to help us get there? I think he's right today, just like he was then. And so will your current team allow you to accomplish larger goals? AKA, will your current team allow you to scale your business, to scale your world, scale your opportunity? Second question is, are the people that got you to this point going to be the same group to take you to the next level? Guys, I want you to take a step back, because sometimes this feels harsh, or it feels, you're like, man, it's the most wonderful time of the year, right? Now you're asking me to think about whether or not I'm going to keep people. Well, I want you to think about it a different way, right? Think about your favorite sports team for a second, right? I got this. Some of you know who that guy is, right? If you don't, that's Michael Jordan, right there, right? And yet behind me, I want you to think about your favorite sports team here for a second. And I want you to think about if they ever won a championship, right? The year before or the year after, did they have the exact same players? The year before they won the championship, the year they won the championship, right? Did they add anyone to the team in order to win the championship? Did they trade anyone from the team in order to win the championship? Did they? Now, if some of you not using sports analogies, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about your favorite local business, right, that you love to go to. And before it became your favorite, did they get new management? Or did they get, or is there a new employee that just greets you every day and you love this person, right? And was there a time when that person was not there and now they are? See, the people that got us to a point have not only served a purpose in that business and in our lives, they're incredible. And it's not that people aren't enough, and it's not that they're failures, and it's not that they're terrible, and there aren't bad humans. We haven't made one yet. It's just that they may not be the best fit to take what we're doing right now on our vision to the next level. That's all we're saying. So consider that, right? Just think about that. And then the last question around this and our goal setting, these simple questions to think about in our organizational chart, the who of our lives, is the word more does not scale. The word more does not scale. As a coach, right? When I ask people, hey, what are you going to do in 2022 to achieve higher goals? And they go, more. I want to get one of those buzzers and go, ah. Right? That's the wrong answer. Because here's the deal. If you work 40 hours a week, right? Let's just imagine you work 40 hours a week. Some of you are going, Matt, I'm a real estate agent. I've never worked 40 hours a week. I worked 80. Okay. Breathe. If you work 40 hours a week, okay, the most you could ever work, according to psychological and scientific research, is 120 hours a week. Because people will say, I don't sleep. Well, that's actually untrue. If you guys go long enough without sleep, do not do this, right? You'll actually hallucinate and you will not be able to function. So everybody sleeps, no matter what they say or how they oh, I don't sleep, I don't do that. Yeah, they do. They have to. They actually have to, or they would fall apart. Actually, we're not built for that. We can't sustain that. The most work you could ever sustain would be 120 hours. And the thing is, it's been psychologically and scientifically proven you can't sustain it for very long. A couple weeks in a row might be possible. Outside of that, the work quality drastically declines. The productivity and efficiency drastically declines, and overall health goes through the floor. Okay? It's terrible what it does to people. That's the word more. People say, I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do more. Hear what happens. Productivity declines, efficiency declines, and health declines. Whoa. That does not scale. What does scale is the word who. Who can help? Right? Who can help carry this load that I'm carrying, right? You know, who can take a piece of what we've taken on? So as you look at 2022, if your thought process is, in order to be able to achieve what I want, I'm just going to double my output. Whoa. I would challenge you to think, what about adding one person into your life? Who could help you? Right? That's that organizational chart. That's that question, right? Who will you do it with? So what do you want? What will you do in your business to achieve it? And who will you do it with? Okay, we've got one more. We're getting there. Hopefully we're doing good so far. We're moving fast. We're moving fast today. Question 4. What skills are you lacking that will be necessary for you to achieve what you want in 2022? What skills are you lacking that'll be necessary for you to achieve what you want in 2022? Here's the point, the bullet point you see there is if you knew everything you needed to know, you'd already have everything you wanted. Right? It's kind of interesting. People are, well, I'm not lacking any skills or any information or any knowledge. I just need to be more of me and I'll get what I want. Well, maybe if the world didn't change and you were the only one that, and you staying the same and the world didn't change allowed you to do that. The problem is the world's moving and changing by the moments that tick by in this conversation. And there are things that we don't know that when we know them will allow us to achieve at a higher level. You've already experienced this your entire life, right? You didn't know something, then you did. It made things drastically easier, right? Gary Keller says that there was sometimes a thing that you learned that made everything easier unnecessary. It's a book called The One Thing, guys, right? And so this has happened for you over and over throughout your lives. And the question is, if you're really honest with yourself for a moment, what skills are you lacking that would be necessary for you to achieve what you want? Right? The biggest skill that could be lacking for you to achieve what you want is the skill called communication. Right? Communication is a response that we get. What we receive in our lives is really determined on how well can we communicate. The words that we choose and the way that we choose them in order is a really big deal, right? I'll just give you a suggestion. There's this book. It's by this guy named Phil Jones, right? And it's called Exactly What to Say, right? And then he wrote a book by Phil Jones, right? Same guy. And it's called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. And again, that's not the purpose of this section. It's just an example of, right? Well, maybe one of the things or the skills that we're lacking is our communication skill, right? Do you feel like in situations that you're challenged to communicate, you feel like you know what to say and how to say it in a way that you can win every time, right? Or get the result that you desire? And if the answer is no, that's an opportunity, right? So what's the tool that helps us answer this simple question? A growth plan. It's a growth plan, right? Our tools, by the way, guys, 401, GPS, organizational chart, growth plan. Our questions, what do you want? What will you do in your business to achieve it? Who will you do it with? And what skills are you lacking that will be necessary to achieve it in 2022? And so the growth plan is, what do you want to learn? What do you want to read or listen to? What courses do you want to take? What certifications or licenses or degrees do you want to have? What do you want to teach? What do you want to experience? Who do you want to interview or mentor with or coach with or learn from, right? We will be the people that we are today 5 years from now, with the exception of the books that we read, the people that we meet, and the places that we go, right? Differently put, if you don't change what you put inside your head, you'll never change what comes out of your mouth. So how are you changing what you put in between your ears, right? What content are you adding in here, right? And it doesn't mean that, in no way, shape, or form are we saying that you're not enough or that you're not knowledgeable or that you're not successful or that you can't accomplish your goals. What we're saying is, how could we speed it up? We're saying is, if you had a little more skill in some area, could you go faster, right? The way to think about a growth plan is really simple. And you guys have seen this in Bold 2 as a tool. I was attempting to say to and tool back to back, and it came out a weird word. Okay, so you've seen this in bold as well. There we go, as a tool. And so here's the deal. You've seen it as like January, and then there's some things. And then February, always family reunion in there, right? And then March, and there's some things, right? What I would challenge you with is think about a growth plan in one of a couple ways, and it may help you. One way to think about it is, what are the books that you want to read? What are the experiences that you want to have? What are the classes that you want to teach, right? What are the courses that you want to take in order to achieve your goals or access the knowledge that you'll need to achieve your goals, right? Another way to think about it, and this is actually what I personally do, and it's just something to share with you, you can do whatever you want, is I pick a list of categories in areas that I wish to learn every year. Now, some of my categories repeat every year, right? Like I study sales every year. What a novel idea to study sales as a sales professional. How many people do it? Very few. Okay. I study communication every year. right? I study leadership every year. Coach leaders probably should do that. I study coaching every year. Well, it's my title. I guess I should do that too, right? I study technology. Whoa, every year. Yeah. In 2016, Gary said we were a technology company, and I looked in the mirror and went, I'm not a technology dude, so I better change that right now, right? So I study technology every year. What else do I study every year? Well, as of 2020, I started studying unconscious bias, right? I put a greater focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if you look at the top of my bookshelf right there, next to Michael Jordan, right, there's a whole shelf of it, right? And I'm studying more all the time. What else am I studying? Well, I'm studying categories like, we said leadership, communication, we said technology, we said unconscious bias, we said, what we're studying, coaching, sales. What are you studying? What areas or categories where you feel like, you know what, I need to improve my knowledge here. I need to improve my skill set here, right? By the way, another area that I started studying in 2020 was personal finance, right? Personal finance. I found more and more people that I was coaching wanted to learn more and more about it. And I went, wow, I better start learning more about this myself. One of the areas that I really love studying is real estate investing. Real estate investing. I got the other library in our house is across the hall from me, and there's a whole shelf of just real estate investing books that are sitting on that shelf, right? And so the question is, what do you want to learn? Where do you want to formulate an expertise? What do you want to study? Another way that we ask as coaches, and you may think about it yourself, is who am I serving and what do they want to know? And how can I be of service to them by me learning more about it? That's another way to think about it yourself too. So, one other one I forgot to share with you is I always study Stoicism. Stoicism, what's that? Well, 1,000+ years or so ago, there were some really smart men and women that had some ideas that lay the foundation for what leadership is today. And it's an interesting thing to study. And a lot of top leaders you'll find study that. Now, there's some different ways to study things. It's not just books. It's not just Audible. It could also be, there's this, thing, masterclass, which is kind of cool. There's all kinds of different courses you could take. You could go back to college and do that. And by the way, MAPS has tons of group courses, right? We've got tons of content like this. This is another thing that you're utilizing on the end of your 2021 growth plan. What we're doing right now, and hiring a coach is another way to plug into that. So again, what's on your growth plan? What do you want, right? What will you do in your business to achieve it? Who are you going to do it with? And what skills are you lacking that will be necessary in order to achieve your goals in 2022, right? Okay. We did it. We did it in 33 minutes, right? Great job. You did it. All right. What questions? I'm going to open up the chat box on my end, right, and see, are there any questions? You can put them in the chat box, probably the easiest way that I can answer for you on this. We'll go through, answer a couple questions, whatever you guys have. If there's anything you'd like to ask or that I could help you with, and then we'll go and wrap up our day, and you guys will go back to attacking these 4 questions and these tools and the rest of 2021, and we'll go from there. Any questions that you have, advice for people who are working full-time and starting in real estate? Karen, that's a great question. And I would say that, it's so interesting. Most of us start in another industry full-time as we transition into real estate. So what I would say is that, one, it's how have you time blocked your schedule, right, to be able to achieve your goals, and making sure that you're putting real estate in your schedule. Number 2, you have the same responsibility for activities as a full-time real estate agent does, and your clients expect the same things of you. I don't want you to hear that the wrong way. What I want you to hear is, how do you do the core tasks and the key tasks to be able to serve your clients at the highest level? The third thing I would say is, do you have a transition plan, or do you desire to transition from your full-time position into full-time real estate? If you don't have the transition plan, haven't time blocked your schedule, and aren't providing the customer service with a mindset wrapped around that, schedule a meeting with your team leader to develop those 3 things to make sure that you have that process and be held accountable and stick to your timeline and that plan to be able to make that change. You'll do really well. Okay. Should the leverage part also consider systems and efficiencies, not just people? Yeah, Janet, absolutely. The reason, Janet, where there's actually 8 different types of leverage, and I focus just on people because, to be really fair and honest, Janet, a lot of times we don't focus on who. right? And who is the fastest and most efficient way to double or triple or quadruple your output and performance and be able to accomplish bigger goals. Yet you're exactly right. Leverage is systems, tools, people, technologies. Yes, that's a great way. That's a more holistic thought process around leverage. You're exactly right. What's the best planner that I recommend? I love the Bold planner. I think it's really awesome because it has your 411 in it, because it has the GPS in it, because it has your growth plan in it, because it has your organization, because it has the tools we just addressed in there. I think the Bold planner is a great planner. If you're a MAPS client, you got one and you received one. If you haven't got one, let us know. How soon is too soon to hire an assistant? Great. Gary Keller addresses it in the MREA. When you're doing all you can do, hire administrative help. To be really fair and honest, Paula, if you're in a position that you can hire administrative help, even before you're doing everything you can do, and you're economically sound, you've played red light, green light, you've checked your expenses for at least 3 months, you have the economic ability to do so, work with your coach to partner on that. Right now is a great time. Yesterday be even better, probably, to be able to hire an assistant because you can move faster and provide greater service. When are life coaches launching in MAPS? Leanne, they already have. And so you can reach out at maps@kw.com. We'll get you connected. Will I be able to hear this session again? Yes, you will. We send out the holiday call recordings over and over. You'll get an email to do that. When you begin your goal setting process, do you begin with question 1 and then move 2 through 4? Yeah. Question 1 is always, what do I want? In goal setting, why am I setting goals in my life and in my business? Well, so I can have the life I desire to live. So question 1, what do I want? Yes. And then it goes through the process of what am I going to do in my business to achieve it after I've defined it? Who will I do it with? And what skills am I lacking? Yes, that's the order. If you want to improve your communication skills, which books and classes would you take? It's a great question. We have language of sales in MAPS coaching. You have working with your MAPS coach. I gave you some examples with Phil Jones of what you could do. John Maxwell has a book called Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. That definitely helped me. I think one of the things about communication is you can start moving down the area of studying sales books. There's a great book called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. Is a really good one. And so another really good one in communication is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, right? And so sales books or negotiation books are a good way to go. Another good way to go would be emotional intelligence books, because it's going to challenge how you communicate with people from a standpoint of connecting with them. So, emotional intelligence 2.0 would be one that I would recommend there. Okay. Do you recommend doing both the 135 and 401 individually and for teams? It's a great question. So if you're asking every individual doing a 401, yes. If you're asking every individual doing a 135, it could be. A 401 and a growth plan are personal tools. A GPS or 135 and an organizational chart are professional tools. So the easiest way to say that is every person needs to have a 401, because that's what are they going to do professionally, connecting what they're going to fund personally. And every team would need a GPS, because that's the one-page business plan for that team. That's the business tool. So you can use the tools however you want, yet that would be a way to be able to take that on. Okay. Is there a bold version for commercial? There has been in the past, Scale. Great question. And that's a great question to ask at maps@kw.com if we can return to that in the future. As a dual career agent, anyone else, you could also take Quantum Leap. Jim, that's a great perspective that you added there. And then Adrian's answered some questions for life coaching. Woo! All right, how was the speed round of answering questions for you guys? I was like, all right, I'm going to handle everything you got. If you got anything else in there, you can give them to me. If not, right? This is the cool thing, right? I was a team leader. I've been a coach. So you could ask me whatever you wanted, and I would have given you some kind of answer, right? And listen, the most important thing is this. We're here for you. We don't exist without you as a company at MAPS, as coaches, just like as leaders. We exist to serve all of you as agents and as leaders in the field. We so appreciate you. Happy holidays. A happy new year. Enjoy the time that you have right now to plan and focus on your families so we can attack 2022. It's been a pleasure working with all of you on this call and with all of you this year at MAPS Coaching, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Thanks so much, guys.